Welcome back. We ended the previous tutorial on how to prepare a codebook, but in this tutorial, we are going to look at how to define your variables in SPSS and data entry.
Remember I told you we have the data view where we will do data entry. I came to the data view by clicking on data view at the bottom left corner of the screen. Okay. Then at the variable view, that's where we are going to define each variable. We are going to state the properties, the nature of each variable. Okay. So let's see how to do that. So we come to the variable view first. Now, then you take your code book. Okay, you take your code book and then look at the first variable, that's age. Okay, age. So what you do is that you enter age under name here. You enter age in small letters. Have you seen that? Then you check your code book. What's the original variable name? So you take the original variable name. Let me just copy it. Control plus C. You select and use Control plus C. So let me go to SPSS. Now the original variable name, I'm going to put it at where they've written label. Have you seen that? Label. So I'll put it there. I'll write it there or just paste it there since I've copied it. So what is your age? Have you seen that? Now after entering a short name and the original name, let's do something else. Now you come to type. Now their ages is going to be in numbers. 36 years, 24 years, 25 years. So we are going to leave it as numeric. If it were not numeric, you just click on these three dots to change the type. Okay, we have string, we have custom currency and the like, but it's numeric. You just leave it that way. You don't alter it. Okay. Then the width. For the width, by default it is 8, so we can leave it like that for now. Okay. The width is just like, let's say, the space the variable value will occupy. If the variable age has large value, you can increase the width, but let's leave it at 8 for now. Then decimal. Decimals means the number of decimal places you want that particular variable to be in. You know, age, we usually write our ages in whole numbers, 36 years, 24 years, no decimals. So we can reduce the decimal to 0. Okay. Then the label is done already. Then the values. How did we collect responses for age? Age was actual value, isn't it? That is, we collected their exact age. So they gave us 35, 36, 24 and the like. So for age, we won't do anything under values. There's another question where we would have to do something under value. You'll see how we do that. Then missing. Please leave it as default, okay? Maybe in another tutorial we can go into detail on this, okay? Then the column, please leave it as default for now, okay? Then the alignment also, leave it as right, okay? Then we come to the measure, which is very important. Now, in statistics, you were taught levels of measurement or scales of measurement, where you were told that we have nominal level of measurement, ordinal level of measurement, interval level of measurement, and ratio level of measurement. Now, I've mentioned 4, right? Nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. But in SPSS, we have only 3, nominal, ordinal, and scale. What happens is that both interval and ratio are called scale. Okay, so if a variable is either interval or ratio, you just make it scale in SPSS. Now, age, you've collected their ages, okay, as actual value, 35, 36, 37, like that. So it's going to be scale. If you are giving them options for their ages, like 18 to 25, then you give another box, let's say 26 to 32, then 33 to, let's say, 39, like that. You would have made it ordinal, okay, because it can be ranked, okay. Don't worry, you understand that better later. But for now, we make age scale. You can check the link in the description area below to understand nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio scale properly, okay. Then for the row, don't tamper with it as well. Let's leave it that way. Now, to save time, let me quickly enter the names and the labels for each variable. Then we'll do the rest together, okay? So let me quickly do that.
A few moments later.
Now, I'm done entering the names and the labels of each variable. So let's do the other ones together. For gender, now when you go back to the code book, remember in the code book, we said we want to make male 0 and female 1. You see, originally, the nature of gender is such that it's either a male or a female, which is supposed to be string. not numeric. But because we are coding it, we are making 0 male and 1 female, we can leave it as numeric. Okay, and then we leave the width, then the decimals, 0 and 1. We don't need to leave them in decimal places, so we make it 0. Then the values. Now, you remember that under age, we did nothing to the values. But under gender, we are going to do something. Now, this is what we are going to do. Click on the 3 dots here, then get the value labels dialog box. Then click on this plus that we are adding a particular value in each label. So this is what we do. Now, we are going to tell SPSS that the value 0 means male and the value 1 means female. That's what we are telling SPSS. Okay, so we enter 0 here, and then at the label we enter male. You see that. Then we click on the plus to add additional 1. So we enter 1 here, 1 for what? Female. Remember when we were writing our code book, that's what we wrote. So we are coming to tell SPSS that that is the nature of gender. Okay, the male is 0 and female is 1. So after entering that, you just click OK. So after clicking OK, SPSS will recognize gender as male and female, where 0 is male and 1 is female. Then for missing, we'll leave it that way. Then column, let's leave it like that. Alignment, we leave it. Then we come to measure. Now gender, it's either you are a male or a female. What measure is that? You see, gender is a qualitative variable that you cannot rank. That is gender, religious preference, whether you are a Christian, Muslim, or traditionalist, or Hindu, or whatever. Okay, those things are nominal, or political affiliation, whether you are CPP, NDC, NPP, or what have you. Those things are on nominal scales of measurement. Even marital status is on nominal scale of measurement. We do not rank them. We do not rank their qualities. Okay, we do not say men have more quality than women, or women have more quality than men. We don't say that, or we don't agree to that. Okay, so we make it nominal. Then we leave the row like that. Then we go to the next one, marital status. Now, marital status, we agree that we are making 1 single, 2 married, 3 divorced, and 4 widowed. The original nature of marital status, which is single, married, divorced, and widowed, is kind of strange. Okay, since we are using numerals to represent them, we can leave it as numeric. We leave this. Then decimals, let's change it to 0. Okay, then the label is there already. Then we come to values. So we are coming to do something here. We let SPSS know that 1 is single. So we just click on this plus and enter 1. Then we tell SPSS that 1 is single. Then we just hit on enter to add additional box. So 2 is what? Married, right? So okay, then we hit on enter. Then 3 is divorced. Then 4 is widow, right? Okay, so we click OK. So after doing that, SPSS will recognize your 1 as single, 2 as married, 3 as divorced, and 4 as widow. Okay, then the missing, we leave it. Column, this also we do nothing. Then we come to the measure. You remember I told you marital status is on nominal level of measurement, so we use for it. And then the row, we leave it like that. Then we come to income, monthly income. Now, income, we collected their income by taking the actual value of their income. Okay, that is either 5,000 Ghana cedis, 10,000 Ghana cedis, and the like. So you see that that one is purely numeric. Okay, so we leave it as numeric. Then, income can be in decimal places. Somebody's income can be 5,620 cedis, 50 pesos. So you see that 50 pesos is in decimal. So we leave it in 2 decimal places. Then the values. Now for the values, there's nothing to do because we do not have codes for income. Income is its actual value, so we leave it like that. Missing nothing. Column, let's just leave it that way. Then alignment, we leave it that way. Then we come to the measure. Now, your income is on ratio scale of measurement. Okay, income is on ratio level of measurement, so we leave it as scale. You remember I told you interval and ratio are both scale. You get it? So we leave the monthly income. In its actual value, we make it scale. Okay. So let's go to the work hours. For the work hours, we also allow them to enter the actual values. Okay. Some 43 hours in a week, some 40 hours, some 7 hours and the like. You see that? So we leave it as numeric. You can also leave it at 2 decimal places. Then for the value, since we collected the actual value, there's no code. Okay. Then missing, we leave it like that. Then the column, we leave it as default. Then the align, we leave it as default. Then we come to the measure. Okay, we are going to make it scale. Since you are collecting time in hours, okay, if you are collecting time in minutes, hours, also you can leave it as scale. Okay. Then we go to this balance. The question was, let me expand this please. The question was, do you find it easy to balance work and personal life? So it was a yes or no question. And remember in our code book, I said we are making 1 yes and 0 no, isn't it? Let's leave it as numeric. Since we are using numerals to represent them, then we leave the width as default. Then the decimals, let's make the decimal 0. Okay. Then the values, let's click on plus, then we make 0 no, then 1 yes. Okay. So you just click OK. So that has been done. Then missing, we leave it as default. We leave this also as default. We leave this. Then we come to the measure. Now it's a yes or no question. Yes or no question, our nominal scale of measurement. Okay. Then we go to the next one, which is leisure hours. Leisure hours also, we collected the actual values. Okay. So we leave it as numeric. We leave this as default. You can leave it at 2 decimal places. Then for the values, since we collected the actual value, we didn't code it, so we just leave it like that. Then we leave the missing at default, column at default, this as default. Then we come here and then make it scale. Since we are collecting the time in hours, okay, so we make it scale. Then this is also at default. Then we go to exercise. Now the question asks, do you exercise or engage in physical activities regularly? So it's a yes or no question. Since we are making 0 no and 1 yes, you can leave it as numeric. You leave this as default. Then you make this 0 decimal place. Then for the values, you have to code it. But you know we can copy the code from here. You just click here and then use Ctrl plus C. Then we come to where we want to paste it. Click there once and use Ctrl plus V. It will paste the code there without you necessarily clicking on the 3 dots to enter the code. You've copied the code from another variable to this place since it's the same code. Okay. So we leave this at default. We leave this also, leave this. Then it's a yes or no question, so we make it nominal. You see that. Then let's go to the next one, which is satisfaction. Now, for satisfaction, it is a statement that you have to state your level of agreement with. Okay. I feel satisfied with my current job. And you remember 1 is strongly disagree, 2 is disagree, 3 is neutral, 4 is agree, and 5 is strongly agree. So we can leave it as numeric. Okay. Then let's make it 0 decimal place. Okay. Then let's go to the values. Now at the values, we click on these 3 dots. Then we let SPSS know that 1 is strongly disagree. Okay. Hit on the enter key. Then we enter 2. Then 2 is disagree. Then we hit on the enter key. Then 3 is neutral. Then we hit on the enter key. Then 4 is agree. Then we hit on the enter key. Then 5 is strongly agree. So that's all. So we click on OK. So it's done. So for the missing, we leave it as default. Column, we leave it as default. The align, we leave it as default. Then the measure. Whenever you allow respondents to give you their level of agreement or their level of satisfaction with something, you are going to make it ordinal. Okay. Strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree are qualitative in nature also. But because we can rank them, because they can be ranked, you see, someone who picked disagree kind of agree than someone who picked strongly disagree. So we can rank them qualitatively, so it's ordinal. Okay. Then the next one is work hours. It's also agreement question. So this as default, this to leave it. Let's make it 0 decimal place. In fact, let's make the last three also 0 decimal place. They all have same format. Okay. Then we come to the values. Now, the code we gave to the satisfaction statement is the same code we will give to the other statement, isn't it? So we can just click on the satisfaction code and then copy it. So we use Ctrl plus C to copy it. Okay. Then we come here and then use Ctrl plus V to paste it there. Then we come here also use Ctrl plus V to paste the same code. Then we go here also use Ctrl plus V, paste the same code. Then the last one also use Ctrl plus V to paste the same code. Then the missing, we leave them as default. The column, we leave them that way. The align, we leave it. Then we come to the measure. Now, you remember I told you these statements are going to be ordinal. Okay. Strongly agree, disagree, and the like. They are ordinal. So you make all of them ordinal. Okay. So that's how to define variables in SPSS. Okay. So before we go to data entry, let's save this file so that we don't lose whatever we've done so far. Okay. Because it is very painful to work in vain. Okay. So let's save it first. So to save it, we go to File at the top left corner here. So we click on File. Then you go down to Save or Save As, since that's the first time you are saving it. So let me just say Save As. After clicking on Save As, each dialog box will display. So look at the top here, look in. So you click on this arrow to select the particular folder you want to save this file into. Okay. So let me click on the arrow. Let's say I want to save mine in just this folder P. Okay. So I'll just click on P. So I'll come to the file name. So I'll give it a name. I want to name mine coded underscore job underscore satisfaction. Please, you can name it anyhow you want. I choose to add coded because I just want to remember that that is the job satisfaction data that has been coded in SPSS. Okay. So you just come to where they've written save over here, then you save it. So it has been saved. Okay. So let's go to the data view and do data entry. So we are now coming to enter our data. Now you see that when we define each variable at the variable view, you see that when you go to the data view, each variable name has appeared at the top here, you see. Initially, they were all VAR, like this place. But since each variable has been defined in the variable view, so you see that the variable names are now appearing as column headers in the data view. So we are now coming to enter the various data here. As I said earlier, we've sent a hard copy of the questionnaire to our respondents, and they've responded. Okay. Now, before we enter the data, we can decide to give each respondent an ID number. Okay. So to do that, let's go back to the variable view. Then we click on the first row here, row 1. Then you right click on your mouse. Then you click on insert variable. So when you click on insert variable, you just rename this as ID. You leave it as numeric. Then the width, you leave it like that. Then the decimals, you make it 0 decimal place. Then the label for the ID, you can still call it ID. Then the values, you leave it as default. Missing, default. Columns, default. Then align also, you leave it like that. Then the measure is nominal. Okay. ID is on nominal scale of measurement. Okay. Then the row, we leave it as default. So you've done something new in the file, right? So you have to save it to update the file. Now this file is already saved, isn't it? So since it's already saved, look at this blue icon here. So you just click on it to update it. Okay, the file is already saved in full. But to update the file, you just click on the blue icon here. Okay. So let's go back to the data view. Now when I come back to the data view, you see that the column for ID has been created. You see that? Good. Now for the first respondent, let's say the first respondent has ID number 1. Now let's assume the first respondent says he or she is, let's say, 27 years, and then it's a male. And remember, male was what? 0. So instead of you typing male, you just enter 0 there. SPSS already knows that 0 is male. Since you've informed SPSS that you want 0 to be male in the variable view when you were doing the coding, you see that. Then marital status. Let's assume he's single. And remember, single was 1. So there's no need typing single when you are doing your data entry. You just enter 1. You see that. Then you come to the income. Let's assume it says his monthly income is 6,520 pesos. Okay. Then work hours for the week. Let's assume it says he works 45 hours in a week. Then Then let's assume he said yes to this question. Okay, so you remember yes is 1, so we just enter 1. There's no need typing yes. Okay, so we go to the next one. In fact, when we entered 1 and we left, you see that it has changed it to yes for us because SPSS already recognized 1 as yes. Okay, and when you look at this place, I entered 1 and it changed it to single. Here too, I entered 0 and it changed it to nil. You see that. Then the leisure hours, let's enter 5. Okay, then we go to exercise. It was a yes or no question. So let's assume we said yes also. Let's enter 1. Okay. Then we go to the satisfaction. Let's assume the satisfaction we agree. Okay, so agree is 4. Then let's assume this one was strongly agree. 5. Then let's assume this one was neutral about it. So 3. Then let's assume this one we agreed. So 4. Let's assume this one we agreed. Okay, so 4 also. Then you go to the next row. Then you enter the second respondent's ID. You enter it. Then you enter the responses of the second respondent also here. Then you go to the third one, you do same also. To save time, let me quickly enter the data and you can do same as well. Okay.
A few moments later.
So I've entered the data, so you can copy mine. Okay. So when you come to this icon, it's called value label. When you click on it, you see that all the coded ones will change to numbers. When you click on it back, they will come back to this form. So you can always click on it to change the view of your data. Have you seen that? Interesting, right? Now, there's something I also want you to know. Assuming the respondent with ID number 4 didn't answer this question. Okay, assuming he didn't answer this question, he left it empty. Don't enter anything, okay? Just leave it empty too. You don't answer the question for the person. So, but mine, I'm assuming the person answered the question. I'll personally give you a questionnaire for you to prepare your own code book. After preparing your code book, then you open your SPSS and then define the variables in SPSS. Then after defining the variables in SPSS, then you enter your data. So as I said, practice this very well, okay? Kindly subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you can get notified when the next topic is ready. Thank you.